Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at a couple more EXs from that Pokemon Card 151 set. And I really, really like the look of this set. We're talking Blastoise and Venusaur in this video. Of course, we talked Charizard in the previous video. I couldn't do them all justice talking about all of them in one video. We had to split it between the two. I've had a few people get in touch with me, just being like, Wassy, come on. You keep saying every set is the most exciting set ever. No, that's not true. I have described some sets like that in the past. I said that about Celebrations. I stand by it. That was an amazing set that I was really hyped for, and at the time might have been the best set we'd ever seen, and I feel the same about this. So I mean, to remember, I was around when Red and Blue first came out. I played Red and Blue obsessively as a child. I was there when the base set launched. I was buying base set packs at a local game store down the road from my house when the base set initially launched. I have got Gen 1 nostalgia for days. So yeah, you're giving me a set which has all the original 151 Pokemon, really going for the nostalgia. You better believe I'm going to think this genuinely could be the best set ever, in my own personal opinion. And there might be another set in the future that I think looks better than this, but that's okay too. So starting off then with Venusaur, what do we see? Well, we do actually have a Bulbasaur and an Ivysaur. The Bulbasaur we've seen previously, 2 Energy 20, Heal 20. And the Ivysaur also has 2 Energy, Heal 20, but you do 30 rather than 20. And then 3 Energy 80, they're pretty terrible, let's not waste time on them. But I thought it was worth at least showing them off. But then we've got Venusaur. Now, I did do all the translations here on my lonesome. I've told you, since we moved to Scarlet and Violet now, I do translations myself. But I did check with the lovely Antoine Boulet just to make sure, because Antoine is awesome. And what we've got here is 340 HP, which is huge. That is as high as we've ever seen on a Pokemon card. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong about this. I'm fairly sure we've never hit 350 base HP. So this is as big as we've ever seen. And we've got an ability, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may heal 60 damage from one of your Pokemon. And this is actually extremely cool, because it doesn't have to be Venusaur, it could be any of your Pokemon. And that's lovely. But also, it might be once during your turn, but it doesn't say you can only use one of these abilities per turn. So actually, if you've got multiple Venusaur, you can use multiple abilities. You can be switching in and out the active and using, potentially up to 4 times during your turn. Heal 60, and healing 60 is good. This is a nice ability. And this is going to be a theme as we go through the video, so let's just say it for the first time now. It's a stage 2. The fact that it's a stage 2 is a problem. Like a genuine problem. Because what that means is it's hard to actually get this rolling. Neither the basic nor the stage 1 are really giving you a huge amount of help. We look at Gardevoir EX being good, and Gardevoir EX is really, 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 really good. We saw he got second place at the European International Championships, could easily have ended up winning that tournament had a few things gone differently. But that's got things like the Curlier that has a built-in draw engine. And that's one of the huge advantages that Gardevoir has. Plus, Gardevoir itself accelerates energy. So between the stage 1 drawing cards to help you get to stage 2 and the stage 2 getting the energy, you can kind of see how Gardevoir works. That's not what we have with things like Venusaur. And that's one of the reasons we do need to keep repeating that mantra of it's a stage 2, it's a stage 2. Because until something changes and we get more support for getting these stage 2s into play, that is going to be relevant. But this is still a great ability for healing. As for the attack, 2 grass, 1 colorless energy, 150 damage, plus poison, plus confusion. Okay. Yeah. That sounds pretty good to me. But we're kind of in a similar position we were with Charizard's first attack. Charizard's first attack did 160 as long as there was some damage on Charizard. It's not really doing enough damage, and the poison is decent and will help it add up, and you can be playing around with things like Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, as an example, to help you to potentially get a bit more damage on. That puts an extra 2 damage counters on during Pokemon checkup for poison. But is that really going to add up fast enough? I'm not sure that it will. And then you've got confusion, and this comes down to the confusion flip. If you flip, or your opponent flips tails, then all of a sudden you get 2 hits plus the poison. This is awesome. If, however, your opponent flips heads for the confusion flip or just switches out, then you do 150, poison puts it up to 160, unless you've got some other things which push it up a little bit. But then that's it. And that's the most you've got here. And then your opponent gets to attack you, and this is not enough damage for a stage 2. That's essentially where I'm going with this. I don't think you do enough damage here to justify this being a stage 2. And that's my big problem here. I'm not sure the amount of damage you're doing is enough to justify all the effort you go through to actually get this into play in the first place, and that's a bit of a problem. Energy-wise, I'm actually cool with it, because we've got Gardenia's Vigor, and Gardenia's Vigor lets you attach 2 grass energy, so from there you're actually in a decent position. You attach 2 grass energy off your roll, and then you obviously attach 1 for your turn, and then that's it, boom, you're good. You've got enough energy on, you're rolling. The energy isn't a problem for me. The stage 2 is a problem. When you combine the potentially low damage output, that is a bit of a problem as well. And I do love the ability here. And I like multiple special conditions. I'm just a little bit worried that this is going to end up being disappointing in the long run. I'm giving this between 3 and 4 Wassies. When I give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. Not a bad card, but the fact that it's a stage 2, I do think hurts it quite a bit. But what about my boy Blastoise, who I consider to be the correct choice when playing through Gen 1? I am replaying Pokemon Blue at the moment. You know I chose Squirtle as my first partner Pokemon. Partly because I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in a video the other day, and partly because, come on, it's the correct choice. But what do we actually see here? Well, we do have a Squirtle and a Wartortle. Squirtle we've seen before, lets you flip a coin if heads you've got immunity next turn, which is alright. Quite nice for buying some time. And the Wartortle here, you look at your discard pile, grab 3 basic water energy and shove them to your opponent and put them into your hand. I should mention actually, you notice here, and this is a little bit of a theme we see going on, we've actually got the evolution lines done by the same artist. So we see Squirtle and Wartortle here, both done by Kantaro. Obviously the EX isn't because it's, got the 3D graphics and all of that, but it seems like a thing in this set where they are using the same artist to do the whole evolution line, unless it finishes with an EX, even though sometimes it actually does with Alakazam and all of that. But anyway, point is, this is cool and I like it. So Blastoise here has an ability, but it's a bit of a disappointing one. It takes 30 less damage from attacks. Now, you do have 330 HP, which is 10 away from the highest we've seen, and you are taking 30 less damage from attacks. There are some things to get excited about here. This is actually pretty cool. But perfect it is not. I like it. It's nice. It's fine. It gives a bit more survivability. It's not perfect. But 330 HP taking 30 less, yeah. That is going to make you hard to KO. And then we got the usual things, if you're against Pokemon V, you can use V-Guard Energy to reduce damage done by 20. Although, as we're going to see in a minute, you kind of just want to be using Water Energy here. So the V-Guard Energy is not so easy. And we've got stuff like Radiant Gardevoir to reduce damage done only from Pokemon V by 20. And yeah, there are other ways to give yourself a little bit of extra bulk here. This is fine. Perfect? No. Fine? Yeah. This is okay. But the attack here could actually be legit. Because what we've got is 2 water energy, discard up to 2 basic water energy from your hand, and you deal 140 damage for each energy discarded in this way. Oh yes. Yes, this will do very, very nicely indeed. Now, one thing we need to remember, of course, we've got Chen Pao coming, and thanks to the lovely EX deck, we actually now have an English look at Chen Pao. It's the alternate art, but it's got the English text on, so I'm totally using it. And remember, that's got an ability that if it's in the active, you can search your deck for 2 water energy and pop them in your hand. So you're going to be able to find the energy for Blastoise pretty easily. Chen Pao is, of course, a basic Pokemon. So you better believe if you're playing Blastoise, you're playing Chen Pao to get the energy. And you only need to accelerate 1 energy onto this to get rolling. Now, at this stage, I do need to remind you, and this is a mistake that I have made more than once, and unfortunately the proof is out there for everyone to see. Melanie only works on Pokemon V. That is very, very important. This is not a Pokemon V. This is a Pokemon EX. Which means you cannot use Melanie to accelerate energy to this Pokemon. Little bit sad. Hey-ho. You can use Baxcalibur here. That lets you attach as much water energy as you like. But remember, that is a stage 2. So, fair to say this might be a little bit excessive. I'm not sure you quite need that. But do remember that Frostlass never actually rotated. Frostlass stayed in the rotation, so you can actually use Frostlass here if you like. It will attach an energy from the discard when you evolve into it, but the problem we've got with Frostlass here is that we now don't have an easy way to reuse this, so it's like a one-shot deal and it's just sitting there on your bench, which I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of. But if you want like an emergency 1 extra energy attachment, Frostlass will actually work. It's just you've then got Frostlass sitting on your bench kind of doing nothing, which I'm not a huge fan of. I honestly don't think the energy here is a huge problem. It's a stage 2. But that's my only reservation about Blastoise. Whereas Venusaur, I was like, well, it's a stage 2 and the damage isn't great. But Blastoise is really easy. It's a stage 2. If you can get Blastoise out regularly, Chen Pao takes care of the energy. So, I've got to have 2 energy in hand to do 280. Yeah, you got Chen Pao, you're fine. If energy is in your deck, Chen Pao will get it. Lovely. And the amount of damage you're doing is great. 280 is enough to KO Pokemon V, basic EXs, stage 1 EXs. It is the magic number to KO Pokemon V stars. So, literally, the only thing you're not KOing here is stage 2 EXs. Like, outside of stage 2 EXs, Blastoise will smash everything. But it's a stage 2. And it really is as simple as that. If you can deal with the fact that it's a stage 2, if you can consistently get this out and onto the field, this is wonderful. Genuinely, brilliantly, wonderfully awesome. And I love it. If you can't, this is going to end up being disappointing, and that's where we are. I'm still giving this 4 Wassies. I think there is a lot of potential here. This is one that I have absolutely got my eye on. And if this doesn't work, it is just because it's a stage 2. 330 HP is great. Taking 30 less from attacks is great. Doing 280 is great. It's just the fact that it's a stage 2. Hey-ho. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know if you think it's got potential. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Martin Cornwall, who's been a supporter of, this channel since before it was a YouTube channel, back when it was just a podcast back in 2012. So Martin has been around since the very beginning and is an awesome person. So, yeah, thanks for that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.